JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Thursday, February 13th, 3:33. It's going to be a really quick rant. Talk quick about the markets. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P, the SPY, over 609 right now, nearly up 1% today. All in the face of the PPI data this morning, CPI yesterday. The tariff situation continues to go on. It's like if you read the headlines, you'd think we'd be down 5% this week. And meanwhile, we're possibly going to close at all-time highs on the S&P. Just goes to show you, right? It's very easy. And even yesterday, when the CPI data came out in the morning, you see those same folks on FinTwit over the years I've always followed, but you read their stuff, patting them, pounding their chest. Oh, we called it the sell off. Look at this gap down. And, sure enough, we bounced most of the losses yesterday and then just continuation here today. And then we have retail sales tomorrow. Got the 3-day weekend. Trump talked this afternoon. There was chatter, and there's going to be more headlines, I think, and it's almost like they talk about the tariff, people getting tariff fatigue about all the headlines. But I think all these other headlines are kind of, I guess, maybe folks are getting used to it now, because before it was almost like every hour there was a different thing that was going on. But they talked about reciprocal tariffs, and they're going to do some studies and possibly come out with some more information in April 1st or April 2nd. So this is something that's not going to happen by the weekend. So, yeah, I guess you can construe that as somewhat positive. And yeah, markets looking good. Yields dollar down. Before the mortgage rates hit 4-week lows, despite the yields. Yields have been dipping, but I think that all bodes well. So we'll see. Earnings season has been great. So 610 is kind of that first stop I've been talking about since December. We're here in February, so we get over that 610. You can chalk up a lot of the move recently and over the last 2 months as chop since we hit the 610, and do we get to 620? And then you start looking at some of these other things. There was a headline this morning, and someone's given a 75% probability of a 20% pullback in the coming months or whatever. It seems like there's always someone making a call. You know what? One of those calls will be right. So doesn't make sense to be naive enough to think we can't have a pullback at some point. But for now, just ride the train. All right, so that's the overall market. I talked about 610, so hopefully we get over that or close near that, chop around. Retail sales number comes in decent, and then I think that bodes well heading into the weekend. So really quick on individual names. I actually don't have my charts up, so I'm had some things happen today and had to handle. But so first is Roku, and as much as I have conviction in the name, I believe in the story. I think the company at some point is either going to be acquired or it's going to be trading at a substantially higher valuation than it is now. I've seen it before, and it's happened a lot where they'll have a monster quarter, and you think that this is good enough quarter for it to not only be up the next day, but to rally for weeks and months, and it doesn't do that. Or even when it has rallied and it's had some 30% moves over the last couple of years on earnings, it gives it back. So one of these earnings hopefully will be it. I'm hoping it's this one. I wish I had enough conviction to hold a lot of risk into the report, but it's a binary event. So I took a lot of the position off just a little while ago. I'll just hold some runners into the report. The other thing, it's almost like pouring salt in the wound when you're staring at calls on a play, especially when they're further out of money that really have no shot of coming to fruition pending any crazy catalyst. So hopefully that's not the case here with Roku. And the good thing, I only have to stare at the calls for another week. But if a strong beat and raise, it trades into the hundreds, and who knows. So my thoughts. I'm not going to go on a ramble there. Other names, thankfully, Teladoc back. It looked like it was going to test 14 just a little while ago. It just pulled back here to 1340. That's recovering some of its losses, or at least recouping the last 2 sessions of somewhat weakness. I call it somewhat weakness. It's been on a freaking tear. SSYS, which is kind of like trading quiet now. So hopefully that starts to come back. Surprising, because DDD is up nearly 9%. It was up 10% before, and SSYS is not up in tandem. But again, SSYS is up so much over the last 2 weeks that not surprising there. TripAdvisor finally back into the green here just a little while ago. We'd love to see it back over 18 heading into the weekend. They have earnings next week. Still looking to get out some of my June 21st. Possibly had some March strikes. Tripcoin, Teladoc. Yeah, Lemonade, frustrating, right? It was 38, knocking on the door, breaking over its 58 moving average, and then just squeezing. And then it has that sell-off yesterday. Well, it sold off a little bit the day before. And then yesterday, no news, no catalyst, just tumbles. And then right around this time when I was doing a rant, it dropped like $2. No news. But that's kind of what happens when you have a highly shorted name with divisive, and some of these shorts, they smell blood, and they maybe they sell calls to open, use some of the capital, help pressure. They do lots of crazy shenanigans to pressure the stock, uh, especially end of day, right? To a lot of chartists out there, technical folks, the close is the most important number of every chart, right? The closing number. So used to have people manipulate stocks to close, fat finger trades into the close to get the proper number. Anyway, rants for other days. I was looking possibly get some spec calls into earnings, but I'll just wait. I got a couple positions this week that just didn't play out, and it's I don't want to kind of like pour salt on my wound again. So similar to staring at a expiring option that for 3 weeks, knowing it's not gonna come into money. Uh, AMD. So I was looking at Intel, was on the watch list all week, and kicking myself for missing the move. And then AMD was going inside to buy this morning. Not a huge one. It was like 4,000 shares. When I say not huge, I mean it's $400,000. But he was one of the directors, and we're starting to go. And then you look, Intel was going, like, oh, here come the stepchilds of the chip sector. And sure enough, up to 114, and then it faded. Calls are into next week, so I have some time. So who knows? At one of these days, one of these weeks, one of these months, AMD is going to start to reverse. I don't know if this is it. Uh, what else? Baidu and their Ernie bot news this morning. Going to release April 1st, I guess. Uh, so that spiked and then reversed, and then you have Babago and some of the, it's interesting session nonetheless. Other names, I was talking about Hims. Where's Hims? It is. It's up 25%. They had their Super Bowl ad, and back was in the $30. I used to see so many bearish people on FinTwit, Seeking Alpha, all these places, and it would talk about, oh, Google, Facebook are removing the ability for them to advertise, all these things because they're all short. It has a huge short interest. And then you start looking, and I'm like, maybe there's more to it. They're just trying to create FUD on a name that's probably not shouldn't be. And sure enough, it's going bonkers here. It has been going. It's not a name I really did too much research on. Uh, yeah, but great one there. I think that's it, folks. I'll be back. Let's have a great afternoon. I'll be around for earnings. Got like Coin, Roku. I had the whole list before. I don't even know. Did I have it up here? Yeah, so a lot of names should be fun. And that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back, rock and roll.